BrickArms is one of the biggest names in LEGO minifigure accessories, with a great selection of headgear, body gear, and weapons to choose from. With BrickArms' reputation being so good, many may not know about the other good and bad alternatives that are out there. So let's take a look at some of them. Before we get into the main video, let's briefly talk about a few things. This is an opinionated video. You may not agree on what I say here, and that's okay. I'm giving my opinion and my insight into some of these companies that I have personally bought from. As much as I want to cover other companies that I haven't bought from, I know that this will be unfair because I've not taken a good look at their products. I will also mostly just be talking about the guns. I'm not a huge fan of decking out my minifigures with a bunch of tactical gear, headgear, stuff like that, so I mostly collect guns from these companies. Now with that out of the way, let's begin. Probably the most disappointing out of all the companies is with BrickWarriors. Their models lack a lot of detail and seem to use a cheaper type of plastic, leading to this dull, flat looking texture. Especially since all the other guns use a shinier plastic, it really stands out. Plus, its lack of detail makes them look more like toys rather than real guns. Here's an example, using a gun from Combat Brick, which I'll talk about next. See how much more detail we have in this model compared to BrickWarriors' model? Now, I won't say that every model is bad. Personally, my two favorite are the Suppressed Sniper and Terrorizer MG, but even so, the dull looking texture and missing details like the trigger cutout makes them much less appealing. All in all, BrickWarriors' selection of guns are poor, but if you're looking for ancient or medieval accessories, BrickWarriors is the perfect place to go. Combat Brick is one of the better alternatives out there. Compared to BrickArms, their plastic may look a little rougher, but their models have plenty of detail. One thing that Combat Brick does differently compared to BrickArms is some of the gun stocks will extend over the arm fold. With BrickArms, this doesn't happen. So if this is something you don't like, make sure you research these models before you buy them. All in all, Combat Brick is a good alternative to BrickArms. I'm not sure what's going on with F-Brick. The guns they sell look to be original models, yet some look to be stolen, like the G17, which looks to be an identical copy of the SG17 from Sedan. Plus their PSG1 looks incredibly close to Sedan's model. For their original designs, some of the gun models are just way too big and square, making them look very strange. I was also disappointed with some of their pistols as well, with the M92F being smaller compared to other pistols and some of the pistols not fitting tightly into the minifigure's hand. All in all, F-Brick is a company I don't recommend as their quality is hit or miss, plus it does seem that some of their models are stolen. Sedan, also known as Minifig.Cat, has the biggest selection of weapons, headgear, body gear, and accessories out of the bunch. Many of their models have a good amount of detail and mirror designs of the real-life counterparts. Also, many of the models will extend over the arm fold, like with Combat Brick. My biggest complaint is how they will stamp their logo onto the guns. What better way to ruin a model than to stamp the SDT logo right onto it? It can be especially distracting in a stop motion because your eye tends to lock onto the logo rather than the scene itself. All in all, Sedan is a great alternative to BrickArms. That is it for all the companies I'll cover in this video, but before this video ends, I want to talk about one last subject. When watching many LEGO stop motions, I recognized a lot of the guns that were being used, but something was off. The models just didn't look right. Then I realized that they weren't BrickArms, they were knockoffs. This led me down a rabbit hole of finding multiple companies and people who were stealing models from companies I talked about above, making them with cheap plastic and then selling them on retailers like Amazon or even their own stores. They may look appealing because of the cheap price tags, but don't fall for it. They are really bad. Just look at the horrendous quality of these models, with dents, bubbles, rough looking plastic, and more. Do not buy these knockoffs, as the companies who actually design these models aren't getting a dime, while these scammers are getting all the money. Make sure that you are buying your minifigure accessories from the proper companies and retailers. That is the end of this video. If you want to recommend any more companies for me to take a look at, leave them down in the comments. I cannot promise that I'll make a part 2, but any recommendations will definitely be taken into consideration. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.